around the Ecomi Base. Get pumped up. Get excited. Here we go.
Yo. Welcome to Around the Ecomi Base, episode 79. We got Queen VeVe and Will, Crypto Rain, and the real Randy Chavez. Woo! Let's go, guys.
What's up, everyone?
I would like to
didn't
point
realize
out
that intro was not going to be full screen, so that's my bad.
Yeah, the intro, it said like 9:08, so I figured I had a few seconds. I was laying down, and all of a sudden I hear, here you go, hey, everyone. I was like, oh, shit. So I had to spring up like fucking Undertaker real quick.
Yes, I think it's a countdown from 10, but it's not 10 seconds. It's like 3 or 4 seconds or something. The whole intro is 33 seconds, but it was supposed to be full screen. Do you guys see the new edition? Do you guys see the cities and stuff?
It was pretty legit.
It looks really cool now, but it's totally threw me off that it wasn't full screen. And Randy, there was a little surprise for you there at the end of that, the end of the city, but you probably missed it.
Was it Chavez Topia?
You didn't see it? I'll put up one more. Oh, nah. You know what? I'll fix
You showed
it.
it at the end.
You guys chat. I'll fix the intro, make it full screen. I'll put it on again just for fun.
Wait, was it El Gato? Was it the little midget Randy? It says meow.
Someone of those.
Oh, yeah, we got to.
No, you
I got to
didn't. I
find
waited
that.
for that all night.
Oh,
we got to do it live, actually.
Yeah,
Jordan.
I'm searching for it now. It's very important.
Okay.
Yo, anybody go for that drop today?
Yes.
I did.
I went for it live.
What did you get?
I got doo-doo. It wouldn't. So there was an app update recently. So and I guess I've been away for a couple days, so I didn't know. So I guess that messed me up at the start, and then I open it and go back in, and I was trying to craft, and then it said that I didn't have the items necessary, but I had the points, and then I couldn't craft, and then it was sold out. I was like, ah.
Oh no.
I told you so, by the way.
You did. You convinced me to try again. I got my hopes up.
I know.
$2,400 floor.
I told you to get to $3,000. You got the 3,600.
Oh wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That was a 1 million MCP point drop.
Yeah.
I didn't have enough, or I would have. I'm only at 900,000, but he has over 1 million. He's closer to 2 million. So he went for it and got it. So we're pumped. I think it's a good one. It is a good one. Piece, I think. A lot of people that got it aren't going to let it go. You even see the ones listed. I don't think anybody's really serious after like 6K. Everyone else is just kind of flexing. They're showing it off, I think. We had 7 confirmed sales, which is also really, really good. So it did well. I think
the average sale was like 1,900 as well. Yeah. So it was a good amount of money that changed hands.
Yeah, Sleeping was like psychotic. I'd see Sleeping and then gone. Oh, Sleeping sold it. And then Sleeping would pop back in. I'm like, what is going on? And Will's like, he can't decide in his head right now. He's going through that. Because he kept popping on. And then, like, we didn't know if he sold it. And then it would pop back in like 10 minutes later.
You'd be losing money in the fees, right? Probably.
Well, you don't.
It's only 2.5. Yeah, it's only 2.5.
Yeah.
Oh,
and you didn't pay anything for it. I mean, other than your points, your MCP points. So it's all profit.
I don't even have 1 million. Did you get so Will, did you have enough points?
Yeah, I almost had 2 million, so it was worth for me to go, I thought.
But now you have 1, so it works.
Yeah.
But I almost have 1 too. So like that was in our calculations that he was real close to another 1 million, because if 1 million is for the first one, I was kind of hoping that's, VeVe setting the bar for expectations, so that maybe, 1 million would kind of be close to future drops. So knowing that I was only 100,000 off of 1 million, and he was only, wasn't too far off his second 1 million, that's what really pushed it for us. But I think Randy was in a pickle. You know, Randy, you were in a tough spot with only having
3, 4.
I,
Not
I mean,
bad.
I would have been one of, because at first it was down to like, I think 1,500, and I would have been the jackass that undercut that, because I would have been too afraid that it would have gone to like 800. So I would have sold it for like 1,350, and then I'd be kicking myself that it's up here now. Because I mean, like, literally a few hours after this drop was done, they announced an 88 edition secret rare Spider-Man Noir.
Oh, yeah.
And like, I would love to have that be MCP points, but that's going to be, you have 0.7% chance of getting that secret rare on the drop. So you have 70% of 1% of a chance to get that. So you would have to do. I was texting Will this morning. I was like, what were the numbers? I can tell you right now.
For the Mighty Marvel.
You would need to. If the math worked out correctly, you would need to buy 136 blind boxes.
Yeah, $2,000. Yeah.
So it'd be $2,040. That is ridiculous.
To get one. Yeah.
And that's if the math works out correctly. I remember going with the dragon stamps, the Year of the Dragon, and I bought like 35 of those mother flappers before I got. The math should have been like 22. But I had to go like
Doesn't always work like that.
I know RNG isn't always your friend.
Oh yeah.
Well, I have a feeling this drop is going to get a lot of people panties in an uproar because a lot of people like collecting those Mighty Marvels, and you know, thought the Gatekeeper was the. Now all of a sudden they just changed the game to the elite collectors, which will now be 88. Randy, are you going to be in there? Or are you going to, you know, I mean, there's some serious collectors of those marbles. So VeVe just threw a curveball into a lot of people's, you know, path, I think.
And then you got the burn aspect, which we protect the mighties at all costs until it's miles, and then we're going to burn 600 of them.
Yeah. So there's two ways to go about it. You can estimate what it's going to cost. So we already know what it would cost. What it should cost to be $2,040 to get that secret rare. But then you have another 135 collectibles that you could likely sell for, I don't know, figure on average, maybe like $6 each.
I was going to say 5 to 6.
Yeah.
No, cool.
So let's say you take out some of the fees and now it's $5. That's an extra $675. So if you take the, what was it, 2040 minus 675, you're looking at about $1,365. And that's probably about what it would cost in order for somebody to get it on the secondary market. But then if you buy it on the secondary market, that's all you get. If you to have the other stuff, to buy the other 135 boxes, you're going to get some really cool mint numbers.
Yeah, good point. Yeah.
And you get the MCP points from buying that from the store, where you don't get that if you just buy it from the secondary. So
we're not spending $2,000.
See, this is what
I'm telling you right now. No. He made me do it on the Kevins.
I got 2 Kevins.
He did get 2 Kevins, but we're not doing it on this one.
I feel like you can sell the Kevins now and then get the Spider-Man Noir is probably going to go for more than the Kevin in the long run.
This is the problem, is Kevin still got 11 in the store. I'm waiting for Kevin to go out, and I think Kevin will be 750. So
I don't think he'll go out before Spider-Man Noir comes.
No, not anymore.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. That's so I don't know what I'll do. Right, like the reason why I was going to spend my 1,000,000 points on this drop was so I can clear like $1,300-$1,400 and get a bunch of crypto, because crypto's been hammered the last like month or two. So that's what I want to do. And do I spend $2,000 to get this one freaking little thing, or do I probably won't.
No, I wouldn't.
Yeah, I think Rain's had a big influence on me. Like, well, $2,000 is not $2,000. It's really like, I don't know, do like a 20x. So it's like $40,000.
$20,000.
Yeah.
40,000. Yeah. It's true. That's how I look at it as well. This intro thing's still trying to load.
Rain, you been buying anything lately outside of VeVe and OMI? You've been buying?
No, one of the downsides is like when everything's down, in order to buy in this market, right? Once you quit your day job, it's like in order to buy, you have to sell something. Unless you have some extra liquidity on this side. And functionally I have some, but not meaningful amounts. And so in order to buy something that's cheap, like OMI is really cheap right now. There's a number of things that are really cheap right now that I'd love to stock up on. But in order to buy something that's cheap, I'd have to sell something at a cheap price. So I just don't make that trade. I wait till something I have massively runs up while the other things are cool and calm and collected. And then I sell what's up and buy what's cheap. And so I've just had to be patient, even though I'm chomping at the bit of these prices. They're amazing. But, you know, had I not quit my day job in 2021, I would have excess capital coming in to be able to continue to throw around. And even though it's not as meaningful as my current holdings, it's like, it's still fun, right? Like there's something so addicting about buying at basement prices. So I know the majority of people freak out in markets like this. Cool. I counter trade them all the time. They're like, no, crypto's going to zero. What should we do? And I'm like, I don't know what you should do, but I'm buying. Oh, are you scared it's going to go to zero? No, like not really. I mean, functionally, I'm looking at the projects and trying to analyze what is the real risk that they're going to fail within the next 4 to 12 months.
Yeah.
Okay, in many cases, that risk is fairly low. So it's like, yeah, I'm taking that bet. Yeah, that's just how I look at it. I know a lot of people aren't ready to do that. And what I try to help people do is become crypto savages. But the truth is most aren't ready to think that way. They literally want to sell when everyone's panicking out, or they want to buy when things have been running massively up for a long time. And they're like, can see everyone else doing the same thing as them. So they're like, it must be okay. The rest of the lemmings are heading off the cliff, but the cliff must be fine, or they wouldn't be going off it too. And they all kind of go off together. And, you know, I've been that lemming running off the cliff. I was once new to crypto in 2017. You run off a cliff with everyone else a couple times and you learn, man, that's not what I'm going to do again.
Preach.
We're not running.
I like
We're
it.
here. We're here. We're here.
Yeah, when you start hearing, oh, yeah, this is the new narrative. Oh, this whatever narrative it can be. It's been meme coins lately. Oh, my gosh, everything's changed. It's going to be meme coins, isn't it? It's like, come on. It is until it isn't. This is all the lemmings looking to the left and right saying, everything's fine. Just follow everyone. Oh, and they all go off the cliff together. Yeah, unfortunately, I knew that from investing from 18-year prior experience. When I came into crypto, I thought that rule didn't apply. Oh, boy, it does. So the time to be scared is when everyone's saying it will never stop going up and this is a new thing. The time to be buying massively when everyone's like, oh, my gosh, crypto's going down so much, you know. When you're like non-crypto friends, you know, that know you do crypto is like, oh my gosh, I heard crypto is bad. Are you going to sell everything? That's like, that should be your signal. That's like research the good projects and be buying like crazy.
I mean,
Rain, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Do you think that it's possible that there's so many projects launching now that overall gains might be watered down on a lot of projects, or do you think it won't make a big difference?
So what you're looking for is meaningful projects. There is a ton of shit out there, and there's been a ton of shit since 2014. So you're weeding through all the shit, and that's not what you're trying to step in. But a lot of people are just brand new, and it's like my wife's like, oh my gosh, I'm getting advertisements for this crypto project. Should I buy it? I'm like, if they are advertising to you, no, don't touch it. Well, how do you know? I just already know. If they're advertising to you on Facebook and you know nothing about crypto, it's a scam or it's total shit. So how do you find the good ones? That's where all the research comes in, right? That's what I do. In fact, when I was new to crypto, I'd work my day job for 4 to 8 hours a day. And then I'd come home and I'd research crypto for like 8 hours. I was like, I need to figure this out. I need to figure out how to identify better probability projects that have a likelihood to survive versus all the crap that's out there. And it took me years and years and years. Didn't have to take that long, but I was hoping by watching YouTube, people on crypto YouTube, that they'd be able to teach me to do that. And most crypto YouTubers don't think like this. This comes from my investing background, which I've always been like in the investing space in different forms and business consulting space, and just looking for meaningful ways to evaluate where I feel the risk of it failing is fairly low versus the potential upside, and then I take those bets.
So there's outside of VeVe and OMI, I know you said that a lot of other projects were down a lot more than VeVe was because the community wouldn't let it go down. Bored Ape Yacht Club, originally their floor prices were at like 150 ETH, and this is when ETH was much higher. And now they're down to less than 10. You know, Moonbirds were at 40 ETH, now they're down to less than a third of an ETH. Doodles was 21, now they're down to less than 1.5, and this list goes on forever. Is there any other projects that stand out?
Well, so I do like Bored Ape Yacht Club. And, you know, I heard some music to my ears earlier today, people saying, oh, yeah, no, that idea is dead and it's not going to survive. I love it when I hear that. It's like Bored Ape Yacht Club is probably going to survive. Now, is it a risk that it could ultimately fail? Yes, but they're still making lots of revenues because they make some revenues every time one of those change hands. And they're still changing hands, and they're still $50,000 or whatever, $30,000. So the project still has good revenues, and they have a good team behind them. Is there a risk they fail from here? Yes, there is a risk. But like I heard somebody talking about meme coins, right? And it's like, oh, this meme coin made it. Do you realize like there's 10,000 meme coins launching every like 2 days? And so your percent chance of buying a meme coin low and having it shoot up to one of these ones that went really high is you got about as good a chance as winning the lottery as just generally investing in some new meme coin project. So Bored Ape Yacht Club is a much safer bet than that. Now, if you happen to win the meme coin lottery by buying some new meme coin that happened to go massively crazy, cool, you'll make higher gains there, but your probabilities are effing terrible. So I don't touch those probabilities. I would rather go with something like, is Bored Ape Yacht Club like not quite risky enough for me? Like it's literally not quite risky enough for me. Is it generally like a pretty good probability that it will do well from here into the next bull run? I'd say it's a pretty good bet. I'd say there's about a 90% chance it does meaningfully well from now into the next bull run.
Talk to no, I'm joking. I don't have any of that.
Yeah, we know some people that made money in one of our groups in that
Good
one, but it's definitely very risky.
Yeah.
Rain, you said 10,000 new products every 2 days. It's actually that's very accurate. I think was it last month something like 1 million new products launched.
Oh
That's insane. And what's interesting is lotto tickets, just for general lotto, nothing to do with crypto. Just like those winning a lottery. I know they do the balls and there's all different types of lottos, but the lotto tickets in US and probably the same in Australia and other places, especially Western side, Western world, they're the highest rate at sales they've ever had. Like more people buying lotto than ever. So that probably is partly why, and playing into why the meme coins are going so crazy, and also why there's so many projects now. I think the average person understands now that they can't make money in their day job. So they're trying to work out some other way of making money, but they don't know the right way of doing it, right? So they're not researching good crypto projects. They're just putting money into whatever they see.
Yeah, they're brand new at this, and you're always bad before you're good. Now, the smart people, like I was bad before I good when I came in, was good at this, even though I had all this investing background. But like crypto at first is like drinking from the fire hose. It's just completely overwhelming to you. There's so much to learn, so much to know. And so like I didn't know the patterns. I didn't know what to look for. It took me some time. And even like if people are working with a mentor that helps them understand this, it's still a learning curve. There are ways to shorten that learning curve, but it's still just a learning curve. And so what most people do is they come in, they just kind of jump at what everyone else is jumping at. They run off the cliff with all the other people who run off the cliff because those people were new too and didn't know what they were doing. So they do look to the left and right and say, oh, what's everyone else doing? Okay, I'm going to do that because it must be safe doing what everyone else is doing. And it is not. It feels safe. It is not safe. Because if everyone was making money in crypto, why, since I've been in 2017, have I seen 90% of people not do meaningfully well? And only 5% of people in crypto make millions of dollars in gains. Well, so the potential is there, but why do only 5% of people do it? Well, it's the 5% that learn how to take odds that are stacked in their favor versus odds that are stacked against them. And if you're just like right now following basic crowds into meme coins, which has been the narrative for the last month, realize number one, you're coming late to the game. So your risk your potential upside is less. Number two, your risk of it reversing on you is higher. And so the odds right now are stacked more against you than they are for you. That doesn't mean it can't meaningfully work out for you. It can. Like, you can win when the odds are 90-10 against you. It's just, why would you take those odds? So that's, I look for projects that are massively down. They're out of the narrative and everyone's saying they're dead when they're functionally not dead at all. And just people that are saying they're dead don't understand what they're talking about. And so they do get a lot of people scared, who then dump that project because they're looking to the left and right and saying, oh, a bunch of people are saying it's dead. And so they panic out, bringing the prices down to be an undervalued gem. And you would think that everyone would be smart enough not to let that happen. Remember, most everyone in the crypto space is new. They don't think like investors even before coming into the crypto space. They don't know what they're doing. And so if you're just listening to the random Joe about crypto, realize they're not good at this yet. And so take that into account when you're listening to their advice. You want to look for people that have made millions in this, hopefully, or at least there's some reasons they can articulate good arguments as to why they like the things they like and why it might be an undervalued gem versus all the other potential things out there. And and learn along the way. Like, people tell me, well, what should I buy? It's like, I will never tell you what to buy. I can tell you what I like and why I like it. The important thing about that is I want you to hear my reasoning of why I like it and what risks there are, so that then we can both see how it goes, because I'm learning all the time and I get better and better and better every year, especially as I make mistakes, sometimes costly ones. And then I'm like, oh, I learned a new pattern. Oh, look for this when buying this. Oh, this is a red flag. Cool. I didn't know that before. Because realize you're not just going to get lucky in this space, most likely, that's make you rich. You are going to become good in this space. And as you become good, you're taking better bets that are more stacked for you. And you might still lose on some. That's cool, because you can have a 90% chance to win and sometimes still lose. But you're taking better bets where the odds are stacked for you. And over time, it's going to work out really good for you. And so then you become a savage investor. And guess what? That'll still come in handy 10 years from now when it's a different technology that's changing everything. It'll come in handy 20 years from now. And so that's what I get passionate about people learning to become, is a really good savage investor. Because what a savage investor does is wade through the million new projects that are out there, doesn't even spend time researching 98% of them, because you just automatically know it didn't come through a pathway that any other good projects do. Like, if they're advertising you on Facebook, no, don't even waste time looking into it, because a real project isn't even going to come around that way at you. That's most likely a scam or just some kind of money grab. It's not worth your time. You're looking for ones that come in through other paths. I think the sweet spot is projects that launch somewhere between 2016 or 17 through 2022. And they've been absolutely devastated by the bear market. Their price has gotten really cheap, but now we have like a 2 to 5 year history on who the team is. They haven't given up during the bear market. Their prices are absolutely savage, but with the team, like, sometimes when you're investing in pre-sales, and I've done a lot of pre-sale investing, that is the riskiest time because you have no track record on the team. I found the real sweet spot. My massive gains in 2021, most of the biggest gains came from teams that had been around for already 3 years prior. So I had a tracker record from them. Their token had been punished by the bear market, and those were my biggest gainers. The pre-sales, there were a few that were even bigger gainers, but if you counterbalance that with how many pre-sales absolutely did nothing, the sweet spot was the 2 to 5 year old projects that had been punished by the bear market and their token had swung down to too cheap. Well, what's Ecomi's price look like? It was at 1.4 cents. Where is it at now? Do we meaningfully know something about the team? Oh, a whole lot. Why is Ecomi like one of the projects that I focus on? Why do I join this episode? Well, in my opinion, it's one of the best picks out there. We have a track record on this team. We have a track record of them being able to close some of the biggest intellectual property in the world and bringing it into augmented reality collectibles. Boy, people who don't get it with this, they just don't get investment. That's cool. That's cool. Or maybe they just have different narratives, right? What works for me is the longer time frames. Like some people like to trade on a weekly basis and stuff. That's cool. I looked into that. I didn't know anyone who was functionally rich going that way. And that's what scared me away from that. The people that I'd seen had made 10 million plus in crypto. They had invested in time periods between 1 to 4 years, and they had done long-term hold from the bottom of the market somewhere near the bottom. They don't always buy right at the bottom because you don't know where the very bottom is. And then they held till the market was going crazy. And those were the people that were making meaningful, like massive money. And so as I recognized that pattern, I shifted to that type of pattern. Instead of trying to be a day trader or trading week to week, I was like, okay, I'm going to hold for longer periods. I'm going to buy when something's down. And guess what I learned? When I buy when something's down, sometimes it goes down more. And then sometimes you hear Germany selling all their Bitcoin and things go down more. And then you hear, oh my gosh, this is happening and things go down more. Bitcoin goes down, but the altcoins go down even more. And I'm like, well, crap. So then I learned to buy more. And guess what? I saw that as much as things get bearish, every 4 years so far, things go massively bullish. And I call that when the rains come in. And it's like farmers. Farmers wait every year for this cycle, right? In the spring, the rains come in. Well, unfortunately, our cycle is 4 years long. Now, that might seem like a long time. That is much faster cycle than any other business investment cycle other than, I guess, farmers. But like it's every 4 years, you're waiting for the rains to come in. When they do, almost everything in the crypto space goes crazy. And your good picks go massively crazy. That's what I'm here for. And that's what you're waiting for. People are like, should I take gains? And I was like, I can't tell you what to do. Am I taking gains? Only as some things go like 10x in my portfolio, and yet maybe something else has gotten way cheaper. Well, sometimes I'll rebalance a little bit. I don't really see it as taking gains out yet. I'm not ready to take gains out. I'm waiting for the rains to come in. I'm waiting to hear news talking about crypto every day. I'm waiting to, when I go to get my hair cut, I have 2 or 3 other people talking about crypto in there. That's what I'm waiting for. That's when I know, okay, it's time to start getting worried. Okay, time to start selling.
I love it. I love it. Okay, I'm ready to run the new Round the Ecomiverse intro. See if you guys can spot something. There's something that you guys might
towards the
like.
end, right?
Pardon?
Towards the end?
Before the numbers. If you see the numbers, we've gone too far.
I'll just pay
Here
attention
we
to the
go.
whole thing.
Here we go.
We're getting ready for Around the Ecomiverse. Get pumped up. Get excited. Here we go.
What was it? An alien spaceship?
Yeah, UFO. You got it.
Okay. All right.
And it sort of morphed into like some sort of like it just appears there in the middle of the town, in the middle of the city. It just like spawns. I was playing with Runway. You guys heard of Runway? They do some really cool generational like AI art. And so they had Runway Gen 2 was the main one. And they've just released Gen 3 Alpha, which is pretty amazing. So that city that you saw is 100% made by AI, which like it's pretty amazing looking. It's almost as good as Sora. I think you guys have seen the Sora video before. So this is actually accessible now, but it's really expensive. I only got credit to make 10 videos. And I think that's like $20 a month or something. So it's definitely not cheap at all to use Gen Runway. But yeah, it's amazing the AI art that's coming out. I can't wait because just think of this for VeVeverse. You're going to be able to pretty much, I think they will have the ability at some point where you can just tell it. Like you'll be in the headset or whatever, you'll be able to tell it what you want, and it can on the fly make a city for you. And then you can place your digital collectibles in the city once it's been built. So you'll be able to like build things on the fly. I think that's what's going to happen eventually. What do you guys think about that?
So we tell it what we want, what we really want.
That's right. That's right. There's a guy's already done that. He hooked up like ChatGPT. He hooked up some like AI generator, and he hooked up like his VR headset, and he did it live, like a little demo of it. But obviously, the quality of it was much lower. This is just like, so you can do it right now. You can already do that, but you need to rig everything. And he had to have ChatGPT to transcribe everything and then put it back into voice and to then command this software and have all these API calls. And obviously, we want everything to be streamlined. But it's interesting that they've delayed VeVe for a while now, because the longer they delay it, it's actually better for technology. It's better for computing. It's better for quality. It's better for the headsets. It's better for all the different things that we'll need for it. But I want access to it. I'm ready, guys. I'm ready. I want it.
I don't know if it's this particular stream that we do, but that's somehow making its way into my phone and my tablet. But I get really weird ads for, like, it's clear. I don't know how Disney doesn't shut this shit down. It's like on TikTok, it'll be like a dirty version of a Disney character, and it'll be like, I can draw your weirdest fantasies. And I don't know where that comes from. I don't like any of that stuff. And it's just, those are the ads that I get on TikTok, and I don't know why. I think it's from this stream that's making its way into the app.
So, Randy, what is that? You're getting like weird, warped versions of Disney characters?
Yeah, just on like, so it's not like video, it's like ads on TikTok for these AI.
Okay. Yeah.
And
I don't
like
use TikTok.
different.
I've never ever seen that.
They're all different too. So like I think it's probably self-fulfilling, because I stopped to look at one, be like, what is this? And then of course, after I stopped to like look at one, I got like another and another, but they're all from different companies. So I don't know how many, if AI startups are like meme coins, where there's like 1,000 that come in like each month. But that's I don't know if you guys like, I don't know, do you guys get that on TikTok or anywhere?
I don't use TikTok. I do use Instagram, and I use obviously X.
Okay, boomer.
I get some. I use Facebook as well. I get some weird ads.
I use
But
TikTok
not
just
like
a little
that.
bit. I put some videos on there, but like, yeah, I'm totally so old. I need to hire like a 20-year-old, just like, probably even like an 18-year-old, like young guy just out of high school, completely up to date on that. Just take my videos, clip them, and put them in.
Who are you,
So-
Lori? Will you guys
Do we
hit with the TikTok?
I do not use TikTok.
No, I think it's out of my age range.
I mean, it's
I
for
don't-
everyone. It's like, depending on what you like is like what will come up. So I'm on like wrestling talk right now, or like a bunch of wrestlers. Like they cut up like these 30-minute matches to like 5 minutes, and they always have Sia singing Chandelier in the background. So that's really fun. And then I'm on this weird like puppet talk now, where people that like make puppets, and they like, I don't know how I got on there. I follow this one girl, and she's really weird, and that's how it. Anyway, sorry. Well, keep going. What were we talking about before we got on this?
I love going off topic. It's fun. It's fun. Cool Mo back there was saying he definitely spotted the UFO, and he said his language. We're talking about AI as well. What do you guys think of the latest AIs? Have you been keeping up with ChatGPT 4.0 and there's a few other ones as well. There's some that now work on your smartphone. They're open source, and they can instantly converse with you, like in real time, to the point where you're talking and they'll start talking over you, almost like a person does sometimes when you're talking really fast at each other.
When I use it, it seems like all of the data is out of date.
It depends which one you have. I think ChatGPT 4.0 has pretty current date. I think I actually haven't checked lately, but I know that it can have access to the latest data now. And so the one that was on the fly, Apple have now started, I think all companies will be doing this, but Apple have now started putting in an extra CPU that's made for neural processing. So they've got the GPU for graphic processing, the CPU for computer processing, and now they've got an NPU for neural processing unit. So you're going to have three compute processors on your device now, and one of them is going to be purely for like AI, basically. So that takes the load off your CPU from doing it. So it's just going to make AI way smoother locally, which means that the good thing about that is the data doesn't go out to anybody. But still for harder requests, it's still going to grab. It's going to use the cloud to process it for you. So here we go. Kumo ChatGPT 4.0 will soon have a natural conversation with people. Yeah, it's insane. I've seen demos of it. I've got 4.0, but they haven't released the proper version yet. So right now it's a bit sluggish and a bit slow, but eventually you'll be able to just talk to it like a normal person. I've seen people using it. Have you guys seen it? It's amazing.
I wonder if we could ask it what VeVe's new IP would be, and they could break it down by, oh, hey, well, if it's bigger than Disney, it'll be X of these companies. And
I could do it live right now if you want.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
yeah, just ask it what's bigger than Disney.
I just want to see if it's going to. It should be okay. Yeah, I'm on 4.0.
After a while, it will get so good, it will be able to tell us what is coming down the pipe for VeVe before it's announced.
I mean, yeah, especially if it's got that current data. You guys see my screen?
Yeah.
What should I ask? What's the best Disney IP or what? What was the question?
No, as what companies are bigger than Disney? Or no, I guess the best way to ask it would be, what are higher grossing media franchises other than Disney?
Kitty.
What company's revenue? I'll just ask.
I mean, you're just gonna get like a bunch of stuff. Like you're gonna get Tesla, you're gonna get Nvidia, you're gonna get all of that.
Apple, Amazon, Alphabet,
Yeah.
which is Google, Microsoft, Saudi, Amco.
But like none of these companies, I think, would do very well on VeVe. Like, what would you get from Alphabet? Just like the Google letters.
Microsoft. What could they do? Yeah, I don't think any of them would be. I mean, Amazon could do really, really well because they can have digital products. They Amazon already have, they've got heaps and heaps and heaps of digital.
I mean, they're useful, but like I don't see like any of my friends' kids like carrying around like an Amazon truck plush.
You'd be cool, right? How about this as an idea? If we had like an Amazon NFT collectible, whatever you call it,
I would not get
that gave you access to all the Amazon books in the Amazon library. That'd be really cool. Or there's Amazon Prime as well. I mean, this is probably the future, right? Is instead of having a monthly license, maybe you can buy once off a really expensive Amazon Prime logo that lets you access Amazon Prime for free by holding it. It's a cool utility.
I like the idea in theory. How do they make the ongoing revenues? I guess if every time it changes hands, they make money. But do they change hands often enough for them to be able to continue to deliver the services?
That is interesting. I want Ferrari. I'm just here for the glasses. Rain always delivers.
Nice.
So good. All right. Rain, do you have any questions for ChatGPT 4.0?
Yeah, when is the crypto blow off top?
All right. When is
I'm so curious for this answer.
Current cycle crypto blow off top? It's going to first give us a disclaimer saying it doesn't know.
I was just giving us a link.
It'll search the web, but here, if I click this one, here we go.
Predicting the exact timing of a crypto blow-off top is challenging, as it depends on various market factors and technical indicators. However, several analysts have shared their insights on the potential timeline for the current cycle's blow-off top. One, Jason Pacino, suggests that Bitcoin is currently in a consolidation phase, similar to the 2020 cycle. He predicts that the blow-off top could occur between July and September 2024, based on historical patterns and Google search trends, 8source. 2. TechDev, another popular analyst, points to the Chaikin money flow, CMF metric, indicating that Bitcoin could experience a parabolic surge soon. He suggests that the pattern forming now is similar to those preceding significant price
just said
explosions in
soon.
previous cycles 9
Yeah.
source.
That's not much of a
3.
time.
Soon.
Credible Crypto believes that Bitcoin will reach its cycle top much sooner than many expect, potentially in the first half of
Well,
2024,
we're already past the
and
first
could
half.
break
So these are all failing so
$100,000
far.
by mid-2024. He predicts that the first major Bitcoin bear market will begin by 2025 Tenzai source. 4. Glassnode analysts have a more bullish outlook, predicting that Bitcoin could reach a blow-off top of up to $256,000 before the end of the current cycle.
But we don't know.
They
when the
highlight a
end is.
possible correction to around $60,000 before continuing its uptrend 11.
I will stop
Yeah.
sharing because that's not giving us anything.
I can't believe they didn't quote me in there. Like,
I
how
know,
does
how rude.
ChatGPT not know that yet?
Ooh.
So basically, all those predictions were off because I think you guys might agree that it's probably going to be the very end of 2024 or the start of 2025. I don't think it's going to be anywhere any time in the next few months. It sounds
We might start seeing some real good momentum, but like for the blow off top, it kind of like starts moving. And then when it hits a certain point, then the FOMO really starts and you get kind of a few cascades. What happens is 1 month, a month. So we get enough momentum, say Bitcoin breaks 100,000, that some people get in and they buy. And then 3 weeks later, 4 weeks later, they're telling their friends how their Bitcoin is now worth 180,000 or 200,000. And then their waves of friends come in. So then they reach 5 to 10 new people who are now buying in. Unfortunately, like lemmings running off a cliff, they're then buying Bitcoin at 200,000 instead of like 60-some thousand it is now. And they're like, it's never going to end. And they buy it 200,000. Now it could go to 500,000. But guess where it goes after 500,000? Below 200,000. So then they end up going off the cliff, before they realize what's happening. So it's like right now is an amazing time and later is going to be more expensive. And then later than that is more expensive and very risky. And at some point it reverses. Now, maybe it goes 200,000, then it goes to 500,000. At which point, if they sell at 500,000, it'll probably then go to 700,000 before then retracing. And they'll be like, no, because you can't really time the top very well. It's really hard if you are responsibly taking profits. And so you'll miss some upside gains. It's just part of it. But nobody can complain if you're buying Bitcoin at 60,000, you sell at 200,000 or 500,000, you did pretty damn well.
Great.
external pressures like Mt. Gox and Germany on top of sound fundamentals, ETF, sovereign wealth, pension funds in the market. It is a market dream right now, and I'm so lucky that I've sold my house and I'm actually getting access to those funds very soon. And I'll be able to probably put some into crypto. Don't know how much yet or what I'm going to get, but it's pretty exciting. It's pretty exciting because I'm with you, Rain. I've had to break crypto to sort of live off it, and
Yeah.
it is painful having to sell at these times when the market's not like if the market's at least part way up, it's not so painful because you're not missing out on as many gains. But right at the very, this is still close to the bottom, right? Even though we're definitely out of the bear market. It's
not the very bottom, but it's close to the bottom still.
It is. It's crazy because it's very quick to the top, right? Once it starts moving, it moves like a freight train.
Yeah.
It doesn't stop.
Like a freight train. Look at when Ecomi ran last cycle, massive blow off top, right? It went over a 1 month period, went absolutely crazy, like 1,500x, like crazy numbers in like about a month's time.
Yeah. Hopefully we get that again.
And so when people are waiting to buy, when the run is already happening, you'll miss out on like so much of the big multipliers. Because when you buy it after it's already 50x, well, first of all, it might only 4x from there, and that's on a pretty good pick. So the overall gains were 200x, but you only captured 4x of it. And that's if you happen to sell right at the top. And so I like buying cheap because you do get the really big gains when it does run. And if you end up selling early, you're still meaningfully ahead rather than waiting and missing an early point to buy in. And then it happens so fast and it's already 50x up. It's then risky to buy.
And Randy, you said outside of OMI, what are the things that you're looking at? Because I know you've got some Definity.
Yeah, Definity is probably my second favorite position. I would like to go. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff that I have a bit of flow. That's way down. So I should probably pick a little bit more, but I already have like a decent position in that. I have a tiny little bit in an alluvium, which is also way down. But the other stuff I just haven't really gotten enough of yet. That I don't want to be like, hey, I'm totally bullish on these things, and because they don't have really huge market caps, not yet.
Oh, okay. Try not to
Definity's
push them before you've got too much of it.
yeah, Definity's the only one that I really have. I mean, never have enough, but I have, I think, enough of, or bags packed enough already, where it could do a 10x, but I won't be like, oh, I could have bought more. I mean, you'll always say that, but so those are the things that I was looking at right now. Something I was curious with Will and Lori is that there was a Justice League Unlimited episode one day where Batman goes to, or the Justice League is confronting Batman because Brainiac stole Batman's plans to neutralize the Justice League, and he took it one step further to try to like kill him. And then Batman goes on and says, "If you guys can't see the need for a type of plan like this, then I don't belong here." And he goes and he says, like, because in case any of them went rogue, you need that plan. Do you guys have that plan for like each other, where you say like, oh, they're going completely off the rails. I need to stop them from buying or selling a whole bunch of VeVe NFTs. I don't know how much you guys share in those accounts.
It's a plan for me. She's more conservative, so it's basically for me, I guess. And it's just the look, Randy. A look, and I know no more. No mas. Like that. That's the look right there. No, but like SmackDown. I was talking to you because I think July is going to be horrible. Like, I still think until we start closing over 60, Bitcoin's going to continue to downtrend. So I think July is your month to friggin' load up. And then I think August gets a little better. Then September and October really start to build momentum. Like I said, I never have enough, but I do because it's, like I said, when I feel like I'm taking advantage of her kindness, then I have enough.
Yeah, I feel like Bitcoin's got to be the safest thing, and I've slowly, 250 here, 250 there, and I'll keep doing that until I'm like in a little bit of profit. But yeah, it's like I feel like no matter what I buy, it just keeps going down with the exception of like one or two things. Like, oh man, it's supposed to be like
Tuesday's the most probability to close negative on Bitcoin since 2023. Monday's usually it's 73% it closes high. Tuesday then follows it up, which makes sense. At a 64% it closes down. So like if I think until we start closing over 60 Bitcoin, I honestly looking for 47-ish thousand Bitcoin here in the near future.
No way.
Yeah, I'm going out. I'm saying it. I'm calling it
52, 53.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have another leg down within the next week or two, and then I think that will be the low. But I mean,
that timing is perfect for me because I'm gonna have funds around that exact timing.
That would be amazing for Jordan, and I always like to be prepared that it can do that, and so you're not surprised when it does do that, because what catches people off guard is they put in this floor that it will never go below this floor, and then it does, and then they get scared, they dump all their positions literally at lows because it hits that, and then it bounces up and takes off. And they literally sold their positions at absolute lows because they got scared, and it wrecks so many people's investments. So I like to be prepared for what may happen, and you could see a $47,000 Bitcoin. The fundamentals behind what's happening with Bitcoin is absolutely crazy. I was listening this morning to some things that Donald Trump is saying that he will have the U.S. government buying Bitcoin as a backing. And I was like, wow, no, I don't know if Donald Trump will win or not, but to have a major U.S. politician candidate talking about that puts pressure on the whole world to go that route. And I hadn't even factored in major governments buying Bitcoin into what I think this bull run was going to look like. So should they start meaningfully doing that, every other country is meaningfully going to start doing that. And then the price will start going up massively, even more than it should have, which will create an even bigger run than what should normally be happening.
Yeah, that print to buy could be one of the US's biggest boons, like in the world, that like in history. I mean, not that like it would have been better to do this, X amount of years ago, but obviously better late than never. That'd be huge. I can't wait.
Yeah. And most politicians come late. And the reason is they have to have enough people already behind that idea. Otherwise, sometimes if you're too early, you'll get booted out of office. So they need enough of kind of like the voting base to already be on board with that idea before they'll take a risk like that.
Yeah. I mean, Bitcoin was at 54K a couple times this past week, and then it's bounced up from there a little bit. So if it goes below there, at price discovery, who knows where that goes.
Philip B, to me, Bitcoin going to 47K is like OMI going to 4 zeros.
Well, yeah,
Which,
crypto's
yes,
crazy.
it's technically possible, but very unlikely.
Like I said, right now the cost to produce a Bitcoin is about 46,000 in the current market, which would put. That's where you come up with those numbers. So never say never.
That's producing, but they're going to make profit, right? And also, there's so much demand. There's so much demand.
They got to pay bills too, though, Jordan, and they have a reserve. You got to realize the stuff they sell, they've mined months ago, so they still have to keep churning.
Yeah, got to keep that machine moving.
Yeah, the mining business is hard, and they do store up a lot of excess for when the halving happens, because they usually go unprofitable for a while. And the only thing that keeps them able to keep the lights on is they sell some of the excess Bitcoin that they had mined previously. And so it becomes a really hard time after the halving for them, as usually Bitcoin's price is less than it's actually costing them to keep things running for a while. So this period eventually ends and the price goes crazy, and then they're highly profitable again. But we're in that crunch period where the miners are struggling and they're selling off some Bitcoin to pay the bills, and they can't stop doing it because they have major electricity costs.
Yeah, it's crazy. Crazy time. I'm very excited for the future of crypto. I fully believe in it. I've put all my money behind it. I know Rain's the same.
I don't believe in it. I just have 100% of my portfolio in it, but I'm hugely skeptical.
That means we need to get more in, baby. That's what I heard. More.
So if Rain's in 100%, I'm in 100%.
I took out of everything and I'm all in. People say, oh, what if crypto fails? And it's like, that's cool. McDonald's is always hiring. Like, you'll see me out there, and it's like, what? Aren't you already rich? I was like, it's all at risk.
I was rich.
Yep. If it goes bad in the next year and a half, I will have meaningfully nothing. So
Randy,
I'm not saying things I don't believe in. Am I guaranteed that the risks are going to work out for me? Hell no. There's no guarantees in this. The probabilities, though, are really, really good for me and other people that are making smart placements in this market.
So, Randy, you're all in crypto as well?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes. I sold all my real estate holdings in like 2020, 2021 and before. And like real estate had been running up for quite a while. So I was like, I don't know when this is going to end, but everyone's saying real estate is the best way to go in the world. And they're saying that everywhere. That's scary to me. So I sold all my real estate and moved some of it into crypto. The risk, my wife is like, I want this nest egg. I want this, in our savings. I was like, okay.
I was talking to a lady friend this weekend, and we had a discussion about that, about like, well, what do you do if like it all, solar flare, if it all goes to crap? Like she doesn't really know a ton about crypto. I was like, I will, like, it could get bad. And I told her,
solar flare, we're in big trouble, and it's a lot more.
Yeah, we're in big trouble in so many ways, right? Like,
no internet. Imagine no internet for like a week. Everything would stop. It's crazy.
Yeah. Emails not getting through. Yeah, that'd be, oh God.
You couldn't even run rentals. Like everything runs on internet now. Like you couldn't.
Yeah, Big A's in a strong place, right? That is a strong place. That's what everyone should aim to get to, because like the downside of crypto is that it doesn't pay money month to month. So what does pay me money month to month is real estate rentals that are paid for. Hopefully you have a good property manager, because managing them yourselves might save you money, but you'll find out why I don't love doing that myself. And so that you have the money streaming in.
So Joe.
Yeah, I don't think I could ever do that. I don't have I would do it for like an Airbnb and have a company go and deal with that.
Yeah.
I just don't deal with
Yeah,
people.
or you can buy commercial property and you can have a commercial leasing agent who takes care of getting people in there and stuff. And it's not like you never have to evict the tenants or deal with problems. You do sometimes, just your tenants are professional businesses, so but it takes bigger money to get into commercial properties. Sometimes they're 500,000, but usually they're $1 million, 2 million, 10 million, 100 million.
Rain, let's talk end of bull cycle. Everything's gone well. You've made, I don't know, $100 million. Where are you going to put some of that? Are you going to buy some rentals?
Yeah, my wife wants to manage some Airbnb, so I'm like, I don't, but if you'll manage it, and she does have a good personality for that. I was like, okay, I'll pay you, say, 25% of the incoming rents that we take. 75% will go to me to offset, insurance and other things and profits for my funds, and I'll pay you a hefty management fee, because if I was hiring someone else, I wouldn't pay him that well. But she is really good at things like that. So it'd be good for her, good for me, because then one of the downsides of crypto is you have no incoming cash flow from it. So really, if you can generate, really the numbers are pretty magical. If you can get $20,000 a month incoming cash flow passively, your life has changed. If you can get $250,000 a month, you're wealthy beyond belief, right? You can live luxuriously the rest of your life if you can generate that kind of incoming cash flow passively. Well, in order to get to that kind of number, you have to be doing really well at some kind of investment thing that grows what you have to invest. Because in order to be getting $250,000 a month or even $20,000 a month, you have to be in the net worth of millions, putting that into real estate that's then paid for, so that you can have a low leverage, safe position that then you truly have good cash flows coming in with very low risk. Because then you don't care if real estate prices go down. You don't care. You're not going to sell them anyway. They're all rented. If rents go down, well, you don't have a mortgage to pay, so your income goes down some, but you're in a strong position that you can afford to lower the price and still rent it out.
So, Rain, following that question up, after you've made $100 million and you've bought real estate and everything, will you still try and go for the next cycle in crypto as well?
Absolutely. Yeah, I would, pay taxes. I'd put maybe 30% into real estate holdings, and, I'd put some cash flow aside. I'd make some additional purchases, just fun stuff that I've delayed gratification towards. Yeah, I'd buy some supercars. 7
cars, right? One for every day of the week.
Yeah, supercar for every day of the week. So I'll have my Monday car, my Tuesday car. My general car will be a Ford Raptor that's super decked out, that when people see it, they say, what is he compensating for? And I'll be like, fucking delayed gratification for 20 years. That's what I'm compensating for. And they say, that's so gaudy. That's so overdone. It's like, yes, it is. Absolutely. Is that a waste of money? Oh, yes. It's a huge waste of money. And I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, when you've got that much money, you don't have to really care about it.
Yeah, when you've created, I don't believe in spending 10% of your net worth on a vehicle. That's really, really dumb. But if you grow your net worth like this, and then you spend 1% of it on vehicles, oh, that's a strong position. I can't argue with that. That's great.
And a lot of those supercars actually go up over time in value as well.
Yes, if you buy them right? Which I don't know which ones to buy, but I have friends that know which ones to buy. So, people ask me, oh yeah, which version of Ferrari do you? I don't know. I haven't done my research yet. When I get to that point, I'm going to call people that really know way more than me, and then I'll jump into research for 2 months and have them help me research, because I don't know what I'm doing with supercars. And I'll just hire a mechanic that knows them, because I'm not going to be changing the oil on them and all that stuff. No way.
So how much do you say you're putting aside for the next cycle? I don't know.
So it depends on what the numbers go to, but so you pay your taxes, and then with what's left, probably 30% will go to real estate, and that is just a strong anchor position. So that then the other, say, 70% that's left, I can invest during the crypto bear market, and hopefully that gets me into the billions of dollars, right? So it'd be fun to be a billionaire. Cool. But that 30% going into real estate is really what provides total safety and security, like what Big A is talking about, right? So he has money coming in every
Ray,
month.
you have
He's
someone
got some
banned in
rentals
your
that are
chat.
paid for. It's a strong, smart position to be in.
Rain, you got someone to ban your chat. Sorry, he's pretty rude.
Wow.
He's angry.
So angry.
I don't know what he's doing.
angry.
Whoops, I deleted the comment, but I need to find him so I can just ban him. Somebody putting that kind of stuff in chat does not belong here.
He needs a Snickers.
Unfortunately, I can't ban other people's chats. It's the only bad thing about
Yeah,
it.
he'll probably be dumb enough to put another comment, and then I can permanently ban him.
Not the
Nice.
same when you're hungry.
Oh, this is Ferraris. Big A says get a 458 or 488 Pista. That's one of his.
Easter.
Pista.
Oh.
Did he say that?
I really wish I knew more about that, but it's too like I'll learn more about it and figure out. I do want ones that go up in value, right? So I'm only going to drive them, not very much, and just keep them in the garage and drive them a little bit, and really do a bunch of videos with them. Part of the reason I'm going to be really dumb and spend so much on cars is sometimes people don't listen to what you have to say until they see stuff like that. Now, the really smart people don't need to see that. They just recognize how you talk about things and how you think about things, and they're like, yes, I get it. But unfortunately, that's only like 3% of the population that can understand that you're making good arguments, and then just based on your arguments, be like, yes, this is exactly what I'm looking for. Another 40% of the population has to see the supercars to say, okay, I'm going to listen to this guy. And it's like, well, I wish that didn't have to be the case, because you missed how many years that you could have already been on this path. Because sure, I could have bought some supercars from 2021 cycle. It would have been really dumb for me to do it at that point. Why? It's too early. You don't want to be spending a significant portion of your gains on a supercar, which is not necessarily an asset. It's a liability, because the oil change on it might cost you $10,000. If you're driving it around, you're decreasing the value. If you don't get the right one, it's going to decrease in value rather than increase in value. So there's just a lot of reasons why you don't want to go for stuff like that too early. It's a really dumb expenditure.
Randy, what's your plan? Just say you get to 20 million.
So from the high risk lending that I used to do, I got a couple of buddies still in it. One of them, the company is big enough where I could give them a couple million, and I would get a decent return on it each year. Let's say like 20%.
Oh, so you give it to him to invest, and he gives you back a return.
Yeah. So what it would be is, like when I was doing deals, I could only do like small deals with the people that I had with me. We could maybe do 30 or 50K. And out of that, each of us would do like maybe 8 or 10. And then those are on like the decent sized deals that we could do. A lot of the deals I was doing myself at like 5 or 10K. But these guys, they can do couple $100,000 loans. And they do multiple of these at a time. So, even just at $1 million at 20% per year, that, you're getting an extra 200K per year. So if I give them 2, and then I get 400K per year, okay, it gets me close to 1% just with that. And that's just with 2 million. I'd give him as much as he would let me. And then at some point he'll likely sell. But that's an industry where I'm comfortable doing that, because if the company decides they lose a lot of people, or they start, like, I can go in there and help turn it around.
It's something you understand. You understand it.
Yeah, it's something he knows intimately.
Yeah. I would do that. I would get a bunch of, I don't know how much this would be for ROI and how much this would be for myself, but I would get a bunch of Grail Pokemon cards.
Love it.
And because again, I know that market, I've got to corner a good amount of that market, and then I would go in a boat. What?
It would be for both, though. I mean, it'd be both.
Oh yeah, the Grail Pokemon cards.
Man, it's never going down.
But it's not an investment if you can never sell it. It's just for personal pleasure.
Randy has a price for everything. That should be
does.
so evident by now. It's
Yeah.
not even funny.
Yeah, Randy sold a lot less for a lot less.
Like, will I ever sell my last Todd McFarlane Batman? I don't know. I don't know that I will. So is it an investment? I can't say that it is.
But you can. So therefore, yes, it is.
But I still have 3 of them. I already took profits on 2 of them.
Nice.
We need a signed one. Are those things down to?
I was going to look at the signed ones from McFarlane.
I want to hear Randy's final thoughts. So, Randy, what else? So you'd get Pokemon cards. You'd get basically an investment that's going to have a return, so you can live off that.
Yeah,
And
so
what would
that'd be
your
the
remaining
high risk
funds?
lending. The high risk lending, and honestly, out of the 400K a year I'd get off of that, I could live off less than an eighth of that.
40K,
50. And that would be because I guess I'll still be working the YouTube channel. I might do one more because I'm very privileged to have this job where I can just kind of spout nonsense and talk or whatever. But it is okay. We have to take a lot of meetings and we have to go in and decide who is worthy enough to be on the channel and who's worthy enough to not really necessarily advertise for, but in order to get airtime, because you don't want to give someone a microphone that is going to hurt people or is just going to spout nonsense. So there's a little responsibility with that. And then also out of the millions of tokens that are out there and, thousands of businesses, just to get a plate of potentially good companies that are to do a deep dive on all of those takes a lot of work. And a lot of these interviews they're not like a Joe Rogan or Lex Friedman podcast. They are boring. And I don't want to like pat myself on the back and be like, oh, mine are easier to listen to. But some of these interviews that you have to go in and listen to are like, oh, I can't do it. I need drinks. I need uppers. I need you can't be tired of listening to them.
Well, you should be, Randy. I think you shouldn't do that. If they're boring you shouldn't do them. You have to have some passion or fun behind it.
Some people that are super intelligent. They're a lot of their
not good at
video game. Well, a lot of their stats go into intelligence and none go into charisma, but which is fine. If,
they got
100 their stats go into intelligence and not charisma. And they can't hit that that button that then just rebalances it, right?
Yeah.
They can't just go into the edit character thing and.
So I mean, it depends if I want to settle down too. Like as I tell a lot of lady friends. How many
of these lady friends are there?
I tell a lot. I mean, one. Wait.
The issue is time, and I don't have a ton of time and don't get me wrong, life has been great. Has been treating me like, was that Whitney Houston song? Like, I hope life treats you kind. That's Adele. Life has treated me very kindly the last.
You had it right. It's Whitney. I'll always love you.
Yeah, but Adele says, I hope life treats you kind.
No, that's Whitney, and I hope
think it's I have to Google this later.
And I wish you joy and happiness, but above all this, I wish you love.
Yeah, I know that one, but there's another one by Adele. Anyway, I want to. I have this. I don't want to be like Alfred and be like, I have this fantasy. No, I do have this I want to settle down. I see y'all up there with families and shit, and I'm feeling a little left out. I want. I deserve love too. Maybe not. I don't know.
You do. We're gonna find you love.
You're not looking for a relationship. You're looking for a great relationship, because there is a big difference. And a great relationship is a lot of screening. And not like, oh my gosh, I need to get married or I need to find my girlfriend. It's like, no, I'm willing to wait for the right one, because the wrong one, I've been down that road 10 years. Not the best road. Financially devastating
in your future.
You see what in my future?
A nice East Berlin woman.
He needs he's gonna find an MMA girl, something like that.
Something Randy go well with. Compatibility. Yeah, compatibility is important. You're gonna spend a lot of time with them. A lot of time. Actually, Will and Laurie, I'd like what would you guys do if your portfolio goes to multiple millions? What will you guys do with that money? Will it change your
plan? I don't know if it's the same as her plan, but I'm kind of on the rain plan. Like this one, I'm going to use hopefully to get to the 7 figures, and then store up for the next one, and then try to make it where we don't have to do anything for the rest of our lives.
So this cycle is just going to get you fuel for the next cycle.
That's the plan.
It
Yeah,
should be
yeah.
a lot of fuel, but also roll us into the next cycle and the
Right.
next cycle. So even if, let's just say, Bitcoin's done and we hit the bull and whatever, I know, whatever. Let's just say it's done for a couple years. That's okay, because we know it's a cycle, and we know that in a couple years or 3 years or 4 years, and we're not that we don't want to be at that point right now, but neither one of us have to be at that point. We both like what we do. Would it be great if that came hard and fast in 2 years? Yeah, but we're almost kind of expecting another 8 to 10 years anyways.
Like
And
we
that's
put,
that's the plan.
You know,
yeah, we put substantial money in a Roth, so whatever it makes is completely tax free. So
yeah,
I mean-
we moved one of our cryptos. We converted it from a traditional to a Roth IRA. So we're planning ahead, but once again, it's not imminent this cycle, but it would be nice to get a nice chunk so that when it goes down, like we know it's going to go down, we're ready, and we put it in there and we wait. So,
Yeah, it really takes 2 cycles to make meaningful wealth. And a lot of people come in, they think one cycle that they're going to go to $100 million from like $1,000, and it's just not going to happen. Number one, you're bad at first. You're not going to do the right things because you're learning to do the right things. The chances that you do well at first are kind of low. But as you get good, then you can turn that into some meaningful money. But it's really your second time around. By then, you're better. You've been buying during the bear market. You learn to buy when things are low, and you kind of gotten used to that and past the panic of doing that. Then you're buying low, and the next cycle, you really take that good ride up, and you're like, oh my gosh. And for many people, their second cycle that they're prepared for is the one that launches them into real wealth. Because becoming a millionaire doesn't really make you rich anymore. It's like in many metro places, like a semi-decent home costs more than that alone. And then you still have utilities to pay and property taxes and other things. So you really have to get, higher than like $10 million to have meaningful money in the US, Canada, and parts of Europe. So
Australia too. Australia, you need about 10 million Australian dollars.
2 cycles.
I think 10 million would do it here too. Yeah, absolutely. You might not have a car for every day of the week, but you're definitely living a pretty good life, especially in the Midwest, as Randy's learning from his time in Ohio. There's a big difference in how you could live in California,
and we have lots of water,
and versus how you could live in Western Pennsylvania, or even for that matter in Mississippi. You can get a hell of a mansion for a couple $100K in Mississippi. So I think that plays into it as well, where your line is for retirement. It's one thing to retire in Monaco. It's another thing maybe somewhere in Spain, in some of those different towns where they're actually trying to get people with money to come live. I don't know if you guys have seen
Spain. Greece is really cheap. You can go
There's several towns where they just don't have the population, and they're looking for, Americans, Europeans that have money that can come, pay some taxes and live in the town. And some places are giving away property because they want taxpayers and business.
I think Alaska does that too, but you could not pay me enough to live in Alaska.
No. Unless you're going for aliens.
I'll live in Alaska with you for 1 week a year.
Yeah.
We'll go on a fishing trip, and that's it.
Hey, I got to say something for Big A. Hey, you got to keep your brake dust. Brembos 3 days will squeal terribly. You got to wash the brake dust out of the rotors. Got to every 3 days. My Corvette, I have to wash the brake.
Really? Because I've got the same problem on my Tesla.
Every 3 days, you must get the brake dust out, or it will squeal terribly.
But if you have to do that every 3 days, are they even worth having?
Yes, because they stop really well.
They do stop well.
I don't want anything that I have to take the time to wash every 3 days.
But if you have 100 million, you're not going to wash it anyway. Someone else is.
Yeah, I guess. But then I have to manage the person washing it every 3 days. Like, did you wash it?
All you got to do is take a hose and just spray the brakes. It takes...
When I'm in the billionaire status, then I'm going to have that person. What's the guy that Batman has that takes care of everything for him?
Alfred.
Butler.
I need an Alfred.
You'll need an
Alfred the butler. Yeah.
Cool.
I actually was thinking that, Rain. If this cycle goes really well for me, it would be awesome to have someone as like a almost like a manager of the house. So they do the
Yes.
gardening and the washing and just sort of take care of all the different parts of it.
So because managing like 15 people in your life, you really want to get to a point where there's like one that you manage. You can have like a weekly update with them or even a monthly update. Because I don't know about you guys, but like I worked really hard for a number of years and put off a lot of spending so that I could like save and grow something meaningful. And then I got divorced and I went below negative, right? I was worth almost $1 million. And by the time the divorce was done, I was worth like negative $300,000. That was
it
really
happens
fun.
to girls too. It happens to girls too. It's not
Not much.
funny. It hurts.
It does. Meaningfully, the numbers are like men, it happens to this much, and women, it happens to this much. But it does happen to women. You're not wrong.
I'm one of those, Rain. Okay.
I know
I
you
was
are.
on track for my goal.
It's super responsible, like go-getter that makes shit happen in this world. Yes, and thank goodness there's amazing women like you out there. Yeah. So in my case, I didn't vet as well as I wish I had for the first long-term relationship I had. Oh well, I learned some really good lessons there and had to start all over and spent 7 years digging out of a pit. That was no fun before I could then make meaningful money again. So it's like I have a lot of delayed gratification that I put off, but it's not like I don't like spending. I really love spending. And that would be fun to travel, do some other things.
But I think people that are around our age and people that weren't born rich, I mean, I paid for my own education. I paid for everything. I went to school, etc. I think we're a little bit different and we do delay, plus we're probably both Gen Xers. That's kind of what we do.
Well, and it's some good learning lessons. Like I'm glad I wasn't born rich because I wouldn't have appreciated it. Right. And it wouldn't have helped me try as hard. Like part of the reason I tried so hard is I was born poor. And like, I remember one time my parents were like, okay, we got to move. And I was like, I'm really popular at this school. Like I have friends, like I don't want to move. And they're like, yeah, but we have to. It's like, well, why do we have to? Well, because dad's job. And it's like, well, why doesn't he quit his job? Well, because we need it. Well, why do we need it? Well, because we don't have money and our savings would last us like 3 weeks. Oh, yeah. You don't have money, but he has a job and you don't have money. And then I was like, well, why do some people have money and others don't? Well, then over time, I learned it's because they learned how to save and invest it so they could create meaningful wealth so they don't have to go to a day job every day. So I was like, well, why do some people have that kind of money and how do those people think? Because I want to learn to think like they do. And I want to learn to take the actions they do because they have options in life. They can say, I don't like my job. F you. I don't need to go to work anymore. And they can fire their own boss, right? Why? Because they create enough meaningful wealth that they don't need the day job anymore. But I still need a day job working through that. Why? Because I had to have some capital to try to invest in, grow. Plus, I was learning how to invest and grow it, right? At first, you're bad at that before you become good.
See, I don't think I took that step 2 until I met him because I was okay with, a lot of, my parents and that generation, my grandparents, they all went right into the steel mills, make great money. There was no college. There was nothing. Then all of a sudden it was all gone and everyone was poor. So I learned right away, college, important job. And I did all those things that, that I have now. And I lost half of it eventually. But I don't think it was until a little bit later that I started thinking, well, you could have more than just that good middle class retirement. And that's kind of where he came along. And I'm still on path for that good middle class retirement, where I'm getting a good amount from my IRA, Social Security, 401ks. But he kind of stepped me into well, why do you want to stop there? And I'm like, well, that's what we do. I'm making a good living. I'm making six figures. I have this in that's what I made it. And he's like,
that was what success looked like according to what they shared with you. This is what success looks like. So Lori's like, I'm going to make that shit happen. And you have been making it happen. He's coming and being like, you can go higher than that. And you're like, you can.
Exactly. And that's what he did. Let's take some of this money that you have in Goldman Sachs or that you have in Fidelity and let's buy 3 Bitcoin. And it took a while, but now I'm thinking that way, where I would have been happy to just retire with a nice middle class, couple vacations down to the Gulf of Mexico every couple of years, just, living well, but not
average.
crazy,
You say like a good average. Yeah.
but then when he came along, he was like, well, why are you thinking that way? That's kind of like not the right way to think. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I have this much in my 401k and I have this pension and I have this. I'm great. And he's like, no, we could do better. So that's kind of the same story you have. I just learned it a lot later probably than you did, or started to think it possible.
Yeah, I was curious about it from a young age. I started watching real estate when I was like 13. I started looking at baseball cards when I was like 12. And then I learned that they were just printing off a ton of them by then. Kind of missed the time to buy baseball cards at a price that was meaningful. And but real estate, they weren't making more of. So I started watching it when I was 12. And real estate is a great way to go from zero to something significant over 40 years, which is 2 cycles, right? 2 real estate cycles, 40 years. In crypto, you can go through 2 cycles in 8 years with higher volatility without having to manage renters. That's amazing. There are some downsides, like right now, like people that are here right now, you're really smart. There's some people that are not here right now. Why? They just can't emotionally handle these downswings, and it gets them totally depressed. They sell all their crypto and they just leave the space because they can't handle the pressure that they feel. Cool. This isn't right for them. Not everyone can be a savage crypto investor. It does take some emotional anchoring. It does help. Like part of the reason I created the private Patreon that gives you access to the Discord is because it's hard, right? Especially as you're new to this, your first bear market that you're buying during, you think you bought cheap and then it goes down 80% from there. And you're like, oh my gosh, it's going to go to zero. And some actually do. But if you're diversified, the rest of them go so high that you even forget about the ones you lost money on. Eventually go so high. But during that period, it's hard.
Yeah. That's why VeVe is hard right now. Looking at some of these NFTs and looking at what I paid, like we were talking about something the other day.
Don't look, Laurie.
Oh my God. And he made a good point. I was like, well, these are like $40 or $25 on the floor. And I'm thinking about buying a special mint. And he's like, yeah, but think about what that person paid for it when they bought it. They probably paid like $400 for it. And I'm like, oh my God, you're right. I don't want to pay $400 for that. For $25 on the floor. But there's so many VeVe collectibles that, like, what's the one? Steamboat Willie is $100. What is it? $100.
That was the next partner statue.
Elsa
Was it like 10 grand?
$60. Elsa was a guaranteed grand for months. I mean, you just look and Elsa was a grand, and you see it now at 60, and you just want to cry.
I don't want to cry. I just want, $700,000 liquid cash to buy more, right? So
Same.
You and him are the same.
I get in trouble all the time.
I don't want to cry. I'm like, how do I
Elsa.
free up meaningful cash? And meaningful cash, for me, is a different place than it was. 4 years ago was a very different thing. I was like, how do I free up an extra $300? How do I squeeze my expenses to have an extra $300 that's not to put in?
See, I don't sell though. I don't do that though. That's where I stop. I don't sell. I'm now to where I'm either going to hold and I was freaking right, or I'm going to hold and it's going to go to zero.
Yep,
that's what I do.
Unless I see fundamental earthquakes in what I'm in, I don't sell it. There's a couple that I've seen these things. I'm like, oh no, this Titanic is sinking, and I sell, but almost never.
Yeah, that's smart. Yeah, so at least I'm not telling him, oh my God, Bitcoin's at 56, sell. I'm not doing that with a lot of our investments, including VeVe, including, our Brady cards. It's like either we're going to be right and we're going to be good, or we're going to die on the sword, and that's just kind of where I am with things.
All righty. We got Hodlathon. He's here since March 2021. Are we still winning?
I'm sure it doesn't feel like you're still winning, but that doesn't mean you are. It doesn't mean you aren't. It depends on if you bought at 1.4 cents and you're considering selling now, that's guaranteed loss. But if you're dollar cost averaging at this, you're setting yourself up for a win, but you're sure not going to feel like it's a win for still a while longer.
It's
Speaking
hard.
of OMI, I think some big things might be happening next few months, right? Like I think Stacker is implementing a way to buy OMI. Should be cool, and that's connected to VeVe. I'm not sure what else is happening. What do you guys think?
I
Randy?
mean, that seems like that might just be a rumor for right now until things are confirmed by the team. I don't want to.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like that might be happening, but I don't know. What do you guys think about OMI to NFT? Do you think that's?
But we need something because the 24-hour trading volume is $94,000 for OMI, and that's just pathetic. So we need something.
So I do have a different view on this than a lot of people. They're like, gosh, if this happened, if we got Coinbase, it would pump. And they're not completely wrong. Like, yes, it would pump the price of it. It would make U.S. buyers more easily be able to buy OMI, though those that are really looking for it can find ways to buy it, especially now that it's on base. However, like OMI, if they did nothing different from where things were at and it just stalled out completely for the next year, but all of a sudden digital collectibles narrative came into like the narrative that everyone's talking about, OMI goes to the moon anyway. So people were like, it's not going to happen unless XYZ happen. It's like, you're just wrong on that. And I've been wrong on that side too. I've taken that argument before. Like one of the arguments I made was that SAND token had low utility for the SAND token for the sandbox. And I was like, there's almost no utility for it. The utility is kind of laughable. And yet when that narrative hit, SAND, thank goodness I happen to have some, SAND went like 200x. And I was like, oh. And SAND didn't have any big announcements, didn't have anything new. All that happened was that narrative ran and SAND did a 200x. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. Wow, narratives are so critical. If you're a big player in a narrative and that narrative runs, oh, you go crazy. Even if you haven't had any meaningful updates in the last year. Interesting. Same thing with Decentraland. Decentraland's token did like, gosh, it went from like 5 cents to like $7. And there was no meaningful updates to Decentraland. It's just the metaverse narrative hit. Yeah. And so people were like, how do I buy Decentraland? They're like, get the mana token. So all these people FOMO'd into the mana token.
I mean, they were on meaningful exchanges though, both SAND and mana.
Yes, yeah. But yeah. So like one of the lessons I learned pretty early on, there was this token that I wanted to get, and it was only on Uniswap at the time. And I thought, I don't want to get on Uniswap. I'm just going to wait till it's on meaningful exchanges. 10x later, it was on meaningful exchanges. And so then I was buying it at like 35 cents, and I could have been buying it at 2 cents. And I was like, was that a smart decision? No. Oh, well, lesson learned. Buy it when it's not on the meaningful exchanges, if I like the fundamentals behind it. And then when it goes on the meaningful exchanges, the price is way higher.
Good point.
I mean, VeVe's killing it, though. I know OMI's dragging. I totally get it. But if you look at what VeVe's done in the last couple months, they're just abusing the market. They're killing it. I mean, look at the drops. They are building such infrastructure. If that doesn't make you bullish on the OMI token, I don't know what else can.
And some people don't get that. When the underlying business is doing so good, the token eventually catches up. And it's like Paul, who joins me on Wednesdays, talks about this. It's like pulling a brick with a rubber band. You're pulling the rubber band, so this is strong fundamentals, pulling the rubber band, and the brick's not moving until all of a sudden it moves a whole bunch. And so a lot of people wait till they see the brick moving to then buy. But by the time you buy, it just went 5x before you even had a chance to get anything in. Wow. And it's like, look at the rubber band moving, which is the strong fundamentals. Buy that before the brick moves, not after.
Rain, you reminded me of all the things I missed out on last year when everything was super low. I got it. I started buying things just after they started to pump, but just after that pump, like that was like already a 5x for some things. Yeah. It's crazy. And I still got
extra 5x really amplifies your gains tremendously.
It does, yeah, and it's obviously it's multiplication, but yeah, like if you buy something that's already 5x and then it goes 5x, right? That's you've got a 5x. But if you bought it before that, that's a 25x.
Yeah. Like the one that I missed out on, I could have bought for 2 cents. I ended up buying it 35 cents. Now I started selling at $5. So I made good returns on it. Imagine I bought it at 2 cents. Like the difference is astronomical on the gains I made. So I sold $7, some at $7. So that was a 20x. But I missed out on buying it at 2 cents and started paying 35 cents. So I would have made 340x on that instead of 20x. 340x is life-changing. Over 20x is pretty significant. 340x starts being life-changing.
Mm-hmm.
But I had to learn that lesson the hard way. So when I share that lesson, people are like, Rain, you don't know what you're talking about. It's like, we'll see. You just haven't learned that lesson yet. That's cool. You're going to learn it the same way I did, the painful way. Cool. Or you can realize I already touched that hot stove. It's no fun to touch that hot stove and be like, oh, I'm going to learn vicariously without having to learn that the hard way of like, oh, it's not on any exchanges yet. I'm going to wait till it's on meaningful exchanges. Okay, do that.
I just want to do a shout out. We have 350 people watching over that actually. So awesome job, everybody. Thanks for coming and watching us. Obviously, the market's not very exciting right now. I want to wrap this up soon, but thanks so much, Crypto Rain, Real Rainy Chavez, Queen VeVe, and Will for coming on the show. Obviously, a lot of people are feeling fear right now, and the fear greed index is right up in the fear zone. It's the highest amount this week. Is the highest amount of fear we've had for the whole year for all of 2024. And yeah, I can see Rain's excited, and I'm excited too.
Finally.
Let them flood it.
This needs to happen before the meaningful run can happen. And even with previous pullbacks, the fear wasn't like very high. And it's like, damn it. Can we finally get a pullback that really scares people? Because we're not really going to run until that happens.
Yeah.
So it's like finally a pullback that has people scared to death. And I'm like, I've been waiting for this because the bigger run can't happen until after this happens.
No,
that's good to know.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, because we were still hovering at 58 or whatever on the fear and greed index, and then finally this last one pushed back down to 30 or whatever.
Yeah,
keep it up.
Yeah, and a lot of people like they hear these things like buy low and sell high, and they're just not emotionally prepared to do it yet. Like they got to kind of miss some deals. So there's a bunch of people, if they're newer, a lot of our audience isn't newer, but some people that are brand new and they literally cannot buy. They're paralyzed when the markets are like this. And they'll learn this lesson the hard way of seeing where the prices went and then how it reversed. And that's part of the learning curve too. That's why it takes a while to make meaningful wealth in this, because early on, you're not emotionally prepared to make the really smart, scary decisions.
Yeah, I agree. Can we wrap this up? So if everyone can go around and give sort of their parting thoughts to our audience. Randy, do you want to start that one?
Yeah, sure. Have a plan. In the military, they teach us that an operations success is based on 10% execution and 90% preparation. And if you do not prepare for that future, all scenarios, I mean, obviously play those dominoes out, which is the most likely one, but have plans for, okay, what if the worst happens? Hope for the best, but prepare for that worst. And then this way, when it happens, okay, cool. You're not going in cold. You go in a little prepared. It's like studying for a test. But then also prepare for the good. It's like, hey, what if all this money comes in? How much are you going to allocate to your limbic system and having a lot of fun? And how much are you going to allocate to the future? And how much are you going to allocate to, have your safety nest, that nest egg? Having money has a learning curve to it. And if you're not prepared, you can find yourself in not good situations. So that's my probably 2 cents.
Awesome. John, Queen, VeVe, and where would you guys want to go next?
Sure. I guess I'm more the VeVe person, even though this is around the Ecomi verse, but I tend to talk more VeVe. So a couple things we didn't mention is Hulk 180 and Hulk 181 is going to be dropping on Thursday. So for those of you who know nothing about comics, know this one's a good one. I believe the drop price is $10. It's worth a shot. This is what is
20,
it? 10 and 20?
10.
10 and 20? 10 and 20.
180 is 10.
Oh,
181 's
180 and 181's 20. Right. 180, I think, was the first appearance, right?
first cameo.
The first cameo, and then 181's the banger, and that one's 20. So if you know nothing about comics and nothing about collecting, etc., just know this one's a good one. So it's definitely worth going for. Also, I did cheat a little bit. David was in a space, and I was listening to some of the things he had to say. So I'll just kind of throw out the big things that I heard him say. He said, first of all, this MCP point burn was one of many, and he said that multiple times. So he said these are going to be frequent. He also stated that the price being $1 million was set really high because the additions were very low. So that, expect that you will be able to participate, that moving forward, it won't just be the $1 million holders that will have an opportunity to participate. They're going to do a whole range of different ones. So I thought that was pretty cool. He also said that for San Diego Comic-Con and for D23, there are going to be some really cool things coming out. And he also mentioned there's going to be some physical collabs. And he also said that there's going to be some very high-level people at both of those conferences, his partners, different IP. So he asked the VeVe fam, please be on their best behavior. Randy. But he was most excited about whatever's coming out D23. And then finally, the very last question someone asked him was about environments. When are we going to get different building environments for all these collectibles? And will we get, let's say, a Star Wars? And David, in true David fashion, David paused and went, yeah, why not? Yeah, we are. And we're going to get all kinds of environments, but I can't tell you about any of them. I've already said too much. So,
Oh, no. You doing you again.
So you. He did really good when someone asked him about anime, but you basically heard him say, you know what, I am going to answer this. And he's like, yes, we are going to get those environments and a hell of a lot more. So I thought those were kind of the three key. Oh, and he said there will be MCP points used for physical drops as well, or both physical and digital. So
That's cool.
those were the top things that David said that I leave you with. But Hulk 181 on Thursday. Get it if you can.
Thanks for the recap, VeVe.
Really good info.
Will, what do you have to say to people?
She's going to give me a little speculation nation. I've always been, because we saw the VeVe-verse and we ignored them because we don't know when the VeVe-verse, but I truly believe that it is not VeVe that is keeping it gagged. It is the IP. And this answer by David Yu strengthens my case that we are waiting for D23 to announce something major with Disney and the VeVe.
What's the date on that?
And the partner statue that they showed on their thing, and the Marvel.
When's that? When's D23?
VeVe's going to be the gift
August.
shop.
D23 is in August.
August. Okay.
We're invited. We have our own booth. That is a huge deal for Disney.
He said also they have. Thank you for that. They also have their own booth at San Diego Comic-Con,
which is a big deal.
Is a big deal, and it normally takes 6 to 7 years on a waiting list, but they got in.
And then as for the investing, do not trip over pennies to try to get dollars. Like, nobody knows the bottom of the market. Right now, if you think it's a good time to buy, buy. If it goes down, buy again. Just keep buying. If you believe, if you've done your research, and I get it, a lot of people don't have investment backgrounds. You have a huge source in the bottom corner of the screen. I watch his videos all the time. Watch them. Like I said, do the research, learn, understand what he likes. And like I said, in life, you get stuck in a rut. You just run the same path back and forth. The next thing you know, the rut's so deep, you'll never get out. Crypto's your way to change your stars, basically, honestly.
Change your stars.
Yeah,
Yeah, appreciate that.
Yeah.
Rain, did you want to give your parting thoughts?
Yeah. You guys are in a really good place and a really good time. It always seems like, gosh, I wish I'd come in 2017 or 2013. The truth is you're here now, and there'll be other people wishing they had come in now. The challenge is like, are you learning to do the right things? And if you're learning to do the right things, this can go really well for you over time as you become good, because you're in a space that has such massive volatility. And the volatility scares a lot of people because the swings go so low and then they swing so high. But if you learn how to play it right, you're literally buying so low and then you're selling so high. And that's what's exciting to me about crypto, is a relatively short time frame of about every 4 years. It goes massively crazy and then it swings massively back. So it's load up time. The problem with loading up during that time is you buy and then it goes lower, and then you buy and it goes lower. It's just part of it. Later on, you'll be selling and then it goes higher, selling and then it goes higher, and you'll be like, dang, that's all just part of it. Cool. So yeah, you won't make from the clear bottom to the top. As you look back at the charts, you're like, oh, I wish I could time exactly this bottom and sell at this top. Doesn't play out like that. And that's why it really takes 2 cycles to make meaningful gains, 2 cycles that you're prepared for. Well, hopefully you're prepared for this one coming up. You've had lots of time to be preparing. If you've been doing the right things, this cycle coming up is probably going to go really good for you. Just know it's probably going to take one more to make life-changing gains. What else are you going to do over the next 5 years? Because that the second cycle from here might only be 5 years away. What else are you going to do to take your finances from wherever you are to where you really want to be, and you can do it over the next 5 to 6 years? That's exciting to me.
Awesome. Thanks so much, guys. I really, really appreciate all of you coming on. Really appreciate the words, the time and energy that you guys put in. And I'm going to do a little intro for us to dance out. Peace, guys. Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Jordan. Bye, everyone.
What they say it's the rise of the digital G. OMI token got the market bound. Can't you see? Which crypto, NFT, non-fungy fame on an Ecomi spree. I'm the buzz one. Crypto in the blockchain, no mystery. Live, wow, can't ignore the stats. I'm repping on this. Yet I chuckle cause I'm betting on this.
Yeah.
And Nikki, turn the lights down.
There it is. Chipotle bag.
It's the rise of the digital kings. Value surging while my wallet sings. They call me OMI.
Yeah, I did the same thing with Ethereum. Don't feel bad.
Day to day, look at the charts. The sky's the limit. I'm invested in it.
Why am I shooting first in my car?
Got that digital gold rush. It's the bomb, but remember, play a coin, make a wish. This is not financial advice.
See you guys.
Thanks for tuning
See you
in.
next time.